most arresting sights in Paris are the Eiffel Tower and Brigitte Bardot. So tonight into your living rooms in America and Canada, I'd like to introduce Brigitte Bardot.
The 1960s, a decade of change, a decade of revolution, and a decade of unforgettable icons. In a time when the world was shifting beneath everyone's feet, there were certain women who managed to captivate hearts and imaginations across the globe. These women, with their talent, beauty, and undeniable charm, left an indelible mark on the era. They were the ones who graced the silver screen, who lit up the stage, and who became the objects of affection for countless admirers.
I like to be alone sometimes because I choose to be alone sometimes, because I like to talk to myself.
In this video, we're going to take a journey back to the 60s and explore some of the most iconic women of the decade. We'll look at what made them so special, so captivating, and so utterly unforgettable. And as we count down to the woman who stole the most hearts, the one that everyone had a crush on, you might just find yourself transported back to a time of unparalleled glamour and allure. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into a world where these women reigned supreme. The 1960s, setting the stage. To understand the impact of these iconic women, we first need to set the stage. The 1960s was a decade unlike any other. It was a time of great social upheaval, of political change, and of cultural revolution. The old ways were being challenged, and new ideas were taking root. And in the midst of all this change, a new kind of woman was emerging. Gone were the days of the demure housewife, content to stay in the background. The women of the 60s were breaking free from traditional roles and expectations. They were assertive, they were independent, and they were unafraid to take center stage. In the worlds of film, television, and music, these women were making their mark and captivating audiences like never before. But it wasn't just their talent that made them so iconic. It was also their undeniable beauty and unique sense of style. The 60s saw the rise of a new aesthetic, one that celebrated individuality and self-expression. From the bold and daring fashions of the mod movement to the natural bohemian look of the hippie era, the women of the 60s were trendsetters in every sense of the word. And it was this combination of talent, beauty, and style that made these women so utterly irresistible. They were the epitome of cool, the ultimate objects of desire. They were the women that everyone wanted to be or be with. And as we'll see, their impact would be felt not just throughout the 60s, but for generations to come. The countdown begins. Iconic women of the 60s. 9. Brigitte Bardot. We begin our countdown with a woman who epitomized the sultry, carefree spirit of the 60s. Brigitte Bardot. With her tousled blonde hair, pouty lips, and smoldering gaze, Bardot was the ultimate sex symbol of her time. But she was more than just a pretty face. She was also a talented actress, appearing in over 40 films throughout her career. Bardot first gained international acclaim with her role in the 1956 film And God Created Woman, where she played a sexually liberated young woman in a small French village. The film was controversial for its time, but it established Bardot as a major star and a symbol of the new, more permissive attitudes towards sexuality that were emerging in the 60s. Throughout the decade, Bardot continued to push boundaries with her film roles and her personal life. She became known for her free-spirited attitude and her disregard for social conventions. In many ways, she embodied the rebellious, countercultural spirit of the 60s. But perhaps what made Bardot so iconic was her undeniable charm and charisma. She had a way of captivating the camera and commanding the screen that was simply unmatched. And with her bold fashion choices and signature look, she became a style icon for a generation. 8. Audrey Hepburn. Next on our list is a woman who embodied grace, elegance, and timeless beauty. Audrey Hepburn. With her short hair, delicate features, and slim figure, Hepburn was a stark contrast to the more voluptuous sex symbols of the time. But it was precisely this unique look that made her so captivating. Hepburn first rose to fame in the 1950s with her Oscar-winning role in Roman Holiday. but it was in the 60s that she truly cemented her status as a fashion and film icon. Her most famous role of the decade came in 1961's Breakfast at Tiffany's, where she played the charming and enigmatic Holly Golightly. The film and Hepburn's performance became instant classics, and her style in the movie, the little black dress, the oversized sunglasses, the elegant updo, became forever associated with her image. Hepburn's fashion influence extended beyond the screen too. Her collaborations with designer Hubert de Givenchy resulted in some of the most iconic looks of the decade. But Hepburn was more than just a style icon. She was also a talented actress with a career that spanned decades and earned her numerous accolades, including an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony Award. And with her dedication to humanitarian causes, she proved that she was as beautiful on the inside as she was on the outside. 7. Sophia Loren. Our next iconic woman is the epitome of Italian glamour and sensuality, Sophia Loren. With her voluptuous figure, smoldering gaze, and undeniable charisma, Loren was one of the most popular actresses of the 60s. Loren began her film career in the 1950s, but it was in the 60s that she truly hit her stride. She starred in a string of successful films throughout the decade, including Two Women, for which she won the Academy Award for Best Actress, the first actress to win for a foreign language performance. But Loren's appeal went beyond her acting talent. She was also a symbol of a new kind of beauty, a more curvaceous, sensual beauty that challenged the thin, boyish ideal that had previously dominated. Loren's hourglass figure and unapologetic embrace of her sexuality made her an icon for women around the world. And like many of the women on our list, Loren's influence extended to the world of fashion. Her bold, form-fitting dresses and sultry makeup looks became synonymous with Italian style and were widely imitated. Throughout her career, Loren has embodied the very essence of glamour and sophistication, and her enduring legacy serves as a testament to the power of her beauty, talent, and undeniable star quality. 6. Anne Margaret. Our next 60s crush is the vivacious, multi-talented Anne Margaret. With her fiery red hair, energetic performances, and unabashed sex appeal, Anne Margaret was a force to be reckoned with. Anne Margaret first gained attention with her role in the 1963 film Bye Bye Birdie, where she played a young fan enamored with an Elvis-like rock star. The role showcased her impressive singing and dancing skills and established her as a rising star. Throughout the 60s, Anne Margaret continued to wow audiences with her dynamic performances in films like Viva Las Vegas, alongside Elvis Presley, The Cincinnati Kid, and Carnal Knowledge. She became known for her ability to combine wholesome charm with an undercurrent of sexual energy. But Anne Margaret was more than just a movie star. She was also a successful recording artist and a frequent presence on television variety shows. Her energetic stage presence and powerful vocals made her a beloved performer across multiple mediums. What made Anne Margaret so captivating was her unabashed embrace of her own sexuality and her refusal to be pigeonholed. She could be the sweet girl-next-door type in one role and a seductive temptress in the next. This versatility and fearlessness made her an icon of the 60s and beyond. 5. Raquel Welch. Coming in at number 5 is the stunning Raquel Welch. With her long dark hair, full lips, and curvaceous figure, Welch was the epitome of a 60s bombshell. Welch first gained widespread attention with her appearance in the 1966 film 1 Million Years BC. Though she only had a few lines in the movie, her iconic deerskin bikini became the stuff of legend and cemented her status as a sex symbol. But Welch was more than just a pretty face in a skimpy outfit. She was also a talented actress, appearing in a variety of films throughout the 60s and 70s, including Bedazzled, Bandolero, and The Three Musketeers. What set Welch apart was her combination of sultry sex appeal and strong, independent spirit. She was one of the first actresses to take control of her own career, forming her own production company and taking on more challenging roles. Welch's influence also extended to the world of fashion. Her bold, form-fitting outfits and signature hairstyle became iconic looks of the era and are still referenced and imitated today. Through her talent, beauty, and trailblazing spirit, Raquel Welch became one of the most iconic and influential actresses of the 60s and a crush for many. 4. Catherine Deneuve. At number 4, we have the quintessential French beauty, Catherine Deneuve. With her porcelain skin, blonde hair, and cool, detached demeanor, Deneuve was the epitome of sophisticated European allure. Deneuve began her career in the 1950s, but it was in the 60s that she truly came into her own as an actress and style icon. She starred in a string of successful films throughout the decade, including the musical The Umbrellas of Cherbourg and the psychological thriller Repulsion. But it was her role as an icy, sexually liberated housewife in the 1967 film Belle de Jour that truly cemented her status as a screen legend. The film was controversial for its frank depiction of sexuality, and Deneuve's performance was both praised and scandalized. Off-screen, Deneuve was known for her impeccable fashion sense and her association with the world of high fashion. She was a muse to designers like Yves Saint Laurent, and her signature look, the trench coat, the black tights, the cigarette, became shorthand for French chic. Throughout her career, Deneuve has embodied a particular kind of French elegance and mystery. Her cool, unflappable exterior hints at deeper passions and secrets beneath the surface. It's this enigmatic quality that has made her an enduring object of fascination and desire. 3. Jean Shrimpton. In the number 3 spot, we have one of the world's first supermodels, Jean Shrimpton. Known as the Shrimp, Shrimpton was one of the most photographed faces of the 60s and a key figure in the rise of the youthquake movement. Shrimpton's unique look, her big eyes, full lips, and long, lanky limbs set her apart from the more voluptuous models of the previous decade. She represented a new ideal of beauty, one that was youthful, fresh, and modern. Shrimpton's influence on the fashion world cannot be overstated. She was a muse to photographers like David Bailey and designers like Mary Quant, and her style, the miniskirts, the shift dresses, the bold geometric prints, came to define the look of the era. But Shrimpton was more than just a clothes horse. She was also a symbol of the changing attitudes towards women and sexuality in the 60s. Her androgynous look and confident demeanor challenged traditional notions of femininity and helped to usher in a new era of women's liberation. Though she retired from modeling at the height of her fame, Shrimpton's legacy continues to inspire and influence the fashion world to this day. And for a generation, she remains the ultimate 60s it girl and style crush. 2. Diana Ross. Coming in at number 2 is the supreme diva herself, Diana Ross. As the lead singer of the Supremes and later as a solo artist, Ross's powerful vocals, glamorous style, and megawatt charisma made her one of the most iconic performers of the 60s. With hits like Where Did Our Love Go?, Baby Love, and Stop in the Name of Love, the Supremes became the most commercially successful vocal group of the 60s, and Ross's lead vocals were a big part of their appeal. Her voice was both powerful and emotive, capable of conveying heartbreak and joy in equal measure. As a solo artist, Ross continued to push boundaries and set trends. Her 1970 self-titled solo debut featured the hit single Ain't No Mountain High Enough, and established her as a force to be reckoned with outside of the Supremes. But Ross's influence extended beyond just her music. She was also a fashion icon, known for her sparkling gowns, bold makeup, and ever-changing hairstyles. Her fearless embrace of glamour and unapologetic diva attitude made her a role model for a generation of women. What made Ross so captivating was her unparalleled stage presence and her ability to connect with her audience. She had a way of making every song feel like a personal serenade, every performance an intimate conversation between her and her fans. Through her music, her style, and her indomitable spirit, Diana Ross became one of the most beloved and enduring icons of the 60s and a crush for millions around the world. The ultimate 60s crush revealed, and now the moment you've all been waiting for. The woman who more than any other captured hearts and imaginations in the 1960s. The woman that everyone had a crush on. And that woman is 1. Marilyn Monroe. Was there ever any doubt? Though she tragically passed away in 1962, Marilyn Monroe's influence and allure only seemed to grow stronger in the years following her death. She was the ultimate symbol of glamour, beauty, and sensuality, and her appeal transcended the boundaries of time and place. Monroe first gained fame in the 1950s with films like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and The 7-Year Itch, but it was in the early 60s that her legend truly took hold. Her performance of Happy Birthday, Mr. President at John F. Kennedy's birthday celebration in 1962 became one of the most iconic and talked about moments of the decade. But Monroe was more than just a sex symbol. She was also a talented actress, with a gift for comedy and a vulnerability that made her relatable to audiences. Films like Some Like It Hot and The Misfits showcased her range and depth as a performer. Off-screen, Monroe's personal life was the stuff of tabloid legend. Her marriages to baseball great Joe DiMaggio and playwright Arthur Miller, as well as her rumored affairs with powerful men like Kennedy, only added to her mystique. But what made Monroe so captivating was her undeniable charisma and her ability to project both innocence and sensuality at the same time. She had a way of making everyone feel like they knew her, like they had a special connection with her. In the years since her death, Monroe has become more than just a movie star or a sex symbol. She's become a cultural touchstone, a symbol of the very idea of celebrity and fame. Her image and likeness are still used to sell everything from makeup to clothing to home goods. But more than anything, Marilyn Monroe remains the ultimate object of desire, the epitome of the unattainable dream. She's the woman that everyone wanted to be, or be with. The ultimate crush of the 1960s and beyond. Conclusion. As we've seen, the 1960s was a decade filled with incredible women who captured the hearts and imaginations of people around the world. From the sultry allure of Brigitte Bardot to the cool sophistication of Catherine Deneuve to the supreme talent of Diana Ross, these women set a new standard for what it meant to be a celebrity and a sex symbol. But among all of these iconic women, one stands out as the ultimate crush of the 1960s, Marilyn Monroe. Though she was only alive for a brief part of the decade, her influence and appeal have only grown stronger with time. She remains the gold standard for what it means to be a bombshell, a sex symbol, and an object of desire. What is it about these women that made them so captivating? Was it their beauty, their talent, their style? Or was it something more ineffable, a certain je ne sais quoi that set them apart from the rest? Perhaps it was a combination of all of these things. These women were more than just pretty faces or talented performers. They were symbols of a changing world, of a shift in attitudes and expectations. They represented a new kind of femininity, one that was bold, confident, and unapologetically sexy. In many ways, the iconic women of the 60s paved the way for the generations of female celebrities who would follow in their footsteps. They showed that women could be more than just passive objects of desire. They could be active agents of their own sexuality and power. But as much as we may admire and idolize these women, it's important to remember that they were also human beings, with their own flaws and struggles. Many of them faced personal and professional challenges, from sexism and objectification to substance abuse and mental health issues. And yet, despite these challenges, they persevered. They left an indelible mark on popular culture and on the hearts and minds of millions of fans around the world. They reminded us of the power of beauty, talent, and charisma to captivate and inspire. As we look back on the 1960s and the women who defined it, we can't help but feel a sense of nostalgia and awe. These were truly special times, and these were truly special women. They may be gone, but their legacy lives on, in the films they made, the songs they sang, and the hearts they touched. So here's to the iconic women of the 60s, the bombshells, the divas, and the dream girls. May their beauty, their talent, and their indomitable spirit continue to inspire us for generations to come. And may we never forget the power of a good old-fashioned crush. The 1960s may be long gone, but the impact of these women endures. They remain cultural touchstones, forever etched in our collective memory as the epitome of a bygone era. But more than that, they remain relevant and resonant today, in a world that still grapples with many of the same issues and challenges they faced. In celebrating these women, we celebrate not just their individual achievements, but the progress and change they represented. They were trailblazers, rule breakers, and boundary pushers. They challenged norms, defied expectations, and redefined what was possible for women in the public eye. And so, as we come to the end of our journey through the 1960s and its most unforgettable female icons, let us take a moment to reflect on their enduring legacy. Let us remember the joy, the excitement, and the sheer magic they brought into our lives. And let us carry that spirit forward as we continue to push for a world where every woman has the opportunity to shine as brightly as the stars of the 60s. Because in the end, that's what the crushes of the 1960s truly represent: the dreams, the possibilities, and the enduring power of the female spirit. And that's a legacy worth celebrating now and always.